there's significant talk about the potential of releasing oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve as gas prices continue to rise. Fiscal year 2012 appropriations legislation prohibits the use of appropriations to waive the Jones Act unless steps are first taken to ensure that oil released from the SPR is transported on Jones Act qualified vessels. Additionally, the Secretary of Transportation must provide a list of U.S. flag vessels that singly or collectively have the capacity for carrying releases from the SPR. Is MARAD prepared to implement these requirements in the event a drawdown is announced?
Yes, we are.
In October, MARAD released a report comparing the competitiveness of U.S. flag vessels with vessels under other flags. As you know, I encouraged the preparation of this report. The report identifies the factors that raise the cost of operating under the U.S. flag, many of which, frankly, have been well known for some time. Now that the report is complete, what does MARAD intend to do to help improve the competitive position of the U.S. flag fleet, and our action plans being developed, and when can we expect to see specific initiatives?
Well, sir, after that report was released, we did receive feedback from other stakeholders in the industry besides those who were surveyed. As you know, we look to the CEOs of the carriers, the maritime carriers, the ones who make the decision whether to flag in the U.S. flag or not, to try and get a sense of what their concerns were and what their views were of the impediments to flagging in the U.S. We have reached out to other stakeholders in the industry to get their feedback on the report and are still awaiting to hear from several of those.
Mr. Cummings took my my lead in, but I'm going to be a little more direct then. Are you saying that if the SPR is open again, that you promising this committee that we're not going to witness another round of record Jones Act waivers?
Sir, I've committed that we will be in compliance with the law.
Well, I mean, are you saying that once again this administration is going to favor giving jobs to foreign workers over American workers?
Sir, I can tell you that last summer, during the drawdown of the SPR, it was the first time ever in recollection that a U.S. flag vessel was able to carry fuel released from the SPR. And it was because of the very process taken, not issuing a blanket waiver from the President.
Well, I think me and Mr. Cummings have we agree but disagree with you on that, just, you know, for the record. Let me ask you, last year, I commend y'all because MARAD for the first time since 2008 properly focused on vessel sales instead of acquisition contracts, which reaped the taxpayers millions of dollars. The agency made nearly $8 million in FY11 and nearly $10 million in FY12 for a total of $18 million of sales revenue. And in FY12, you already removed and sold 10 vessels from your fleet with only $2.5 million in appropriated funds, generating nearly $10 million in revenue. And so, could you explain why you need $7 million in the budget to dispose for vessel disposal for FY13? What about all the money you made in the prior years? Why do you need any more money?
Well, the funds received from prior years by law are designated to several different accounts. One is actually for the benefit of the state maritime academies. We can take a portion of those proceeds and help fund the needs at the various maritime academies and their training ships, their excess fuel costs. As you know, the cost of fuel has been, on the rise. The other portions go towards maritime historical preservation, and we work with the Department of Interior to help decide where those funds can be spent. They have a grant program that they use, and the remainder goes back to the National Defense Reserve Fleet.
So none of the money can be used to operate the program? Is that what you're saying? Is that something by law that none of those funds
That's correct. The funds we receive from Congress are the ones that help us get the ships out the door and sold to the private.
And none of those revenues can be used to help continue to promote the program. You can use none of those revenues derived off of those sales to help create future contracts and future sales. Is that what you're saying?
I believe it's only for upkeep of the fleet. If you have a specific suggestion, we're happy to consider.
Well, I mean, look, I come from a business community, and I'm not blaming you because it wouldn't be you. Of course, not surprisingly, it would probably be Congress that would set up something so backwards as that. I mean, but when you think about it, in business, you tend to budget and put money back into those things that are actually making you money so that they don't continue to cost you money. And I'm not saying that the other areas of the budget that this money is going to is not needed or is not proper. But maybe we should be looking at making sure we're returning some of those dollars into the programs that are keeping those dollars flowing into those other programs. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's something I'm happy to take a look at and work with you on. We feel that the funds are very well spent if they go to the state maritime academies and the future academy.
But suppose we don't have the $7 million to give you, then those academies and those areas are not going to get that money to begin with. We got the tail wagging the dog here. Is my point. Again, those programs are good and they like their money going in there. But if all of a sudden we say you're not getting your $7 million, how much are they going to get next year?
Well, all I know is that if we continue to make sales out of this program.
But you can't make sales unless we appropriate the money. And if we don't appropriate the money, you can't make the sales and they can't get the money. And so over the past 2 years, you have made like $18 million, and none of that is going back to giving us an opportunity to continue these sales. That's my point.
Well, we put them where the law tells us to put.
I know. I got to clarify that so everybody understands. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are you back?
Mr. Cummings and Mr. Landry raised the issue, and thank you, Mr. Cummings, for first raising it. Just so there will be no misunderstanding, in a very bipartisan way, we'll be paying very close attention to compliance with the Jones Act. There's obviously concerns of some things that how it was handled in the past, and it's something that we feel very, very, very strongly about. So just sort of a word of advance notice that if this does come about, you know that it's going to be under a magnifying glass.
Thank you, sir. And I can tell you that I'm actually meeting later this afternoon with a broad swath of stakeholders from the industry who want to continue to express concerns and offer ideas for moving forward.